Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The Snows of Kilimanjaro by Ernest Hemingway. Come, let's go to the summary. Ernest Hemingway is one of the most famous American journalist, novelist, short story writer and also a sportsman, and he has received Nobel Prize in Literature in 1954. And this story, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, is set in Mount Kilimanjaro, which is said to be the highest mountain in Africa, and its western summit is called as Masai Nagaji Nagai, meaning the abode of God. Abode means house. So it is the house of God because it is so very high and it is said to be very pleasant. It is called as the house of God. And it is believed that there is a frozen carcass. Carcass means dead body of a leopard near the summit. And the story is about a writer named Harry. And this Harry is seen to be on the stage of dying because he's developed a gangrene on a safari. And he has come to Africa for his safari. Safari means traveling in a jungle is known as safari. And the main themes of the story are death and regret. And what is a regret is Harry feels that he has chosen a life of comfort where he married wealthy women and he was living a very luxurious life rather than writing. And writing is his livelihood, but he neglected it, and he is a very good writer whom everyone recognizes, but he did not concentrate in writing. And why he is going to die is he developed a gangrene. That is, when he went to take a photograph of a water duck, a thorn scratched his knee. And if he had applied iodine at that time, he would have been alright. But he just allowed it to become septic, and that septic has now become a gangrene, and that is going to kill him now. And why he came for this African safari is he married a wealthy woman, Helen. And this Helen is also a very rich widow, but she met Harry. She liked his writing and she felt that both of them had similar taste. So she married him, and Harry married her only for her money and not out of love. But somehow he felt that he was going in a wayward way and he wanted to put his life back on track. So he brings Helen along with him and they've come for an African safari there. And this full story is written in a stream of consciousness style. Stream of consciousness means you are in present but your mind goes back to the past and recollects the past happenings. So when both are set together, it is called a stream of consciousness. And Hemingway has divided the full story into 6 sections, and in each section he keeps a flashback. And the speciality of this is the flashback all is written in italic. So when you come to the italic writings, you will know it is the flashback. And the main themes of the flashback are lost love, loose sex, drinking, revenge and war. And in all Hemingway's writings, we find that good things happen in the mountain and bad things happen in the plain. And even in this story, the same thing happens. And in the first part itself, we find out that only Harry and Helen are there and they are in the African continent, and both of them are talking, and from their speech we find that Harry is suffering from severe pain because of the gangrene and his body is rotting, and out of his body a horrible odor is coming out, and actually the truck in which they were driving was broken down. So Helen, being a very rich woman, we already saw that she is a rich widow and she has married Harry, and she came along with Harry for this safari. She has arranged for a rescue plane to come and take them so that she can help Harry and save him. But Harry is very sure that the plane will not come because they are waiting there, and actually he got hurt 2 weeks back and he has been suffering in this gangrene for a long time, and he is very sure that he will die and the plane will not come. And at that time flashback 1 comes where Harry remembers Turkey, where the incident happened in a railway station in Karagach, and he was living in the famous Orient Express, and when he was riding through the northern Greece, he saw the fights between the Greeks and the Turks and how people were trying to escape in Bulgaria. They had to cross the snow covered mountains, and as they were crossing itself, many of them died in the snow, and Harry had the opportunity to protect one of the deserters. And at the same time, when it was snowing in the Madlasser house, it was snowing for more than a week, the owner of gas house, he lost everything while gambling, and so he was suffering out of poverty. And at the same time he recollects another incident which happened in the Austrian mess, where one person known as Barker, he comes into the mess and he proudly says about how he bombed an Austrian officer's leaf drain, and even those few people who tried to escape, he had strafed them and he was very proud of it. And then he remembers how he skied like a bird in the snow in the winter ski resorts in Vorarlberg and Arlberg, And all this comes in his mind, and this is part 1. And then we go to part 2, where Harry, out of pain, he keeps shouting at Helen, and in fact he blames Helen for whatever has happened. He even blames her because of her only he did not indulge in writing. But deep inside, when he thinks, he feels that even if it had not been Helen, it would have been some other rich woman. He would have married another rich woman, and he would have indulged in a very luxurious life, and he would have never written, because it was his nature which stopped him from writing. It was not the fault of Helen or anyone else. And then he wakes up and he finds that Helen has gone out to shoot a Tommy so that she can cook some meat and broth for both of them. And as he is waiting for her, his next flashback comes in his mind, where he remembers quarreling in Paris and then going to Constantinople, and he was spending his time with different women and fighting for women. And then he leaves for Anatolia, which is a great plain of Turkey, and in that place only opium is grown, like poppies, they grow poppies for opium. And there he saw so much of horrible things that even after coming to Paris, he was not able to write about it. And in Paris only he met Tristan Tracia, who is a Romanian poet and the founder of the Dadaism, that is a Dada movement. And this Tristan Tracia represented everything that Harry opposed. And he thinks about it, and as he thinks about it, we will go to part 3, where Harry feels that he's definitely going to die that night itself, because the pain is unbearable and the gangrene is spreading and his body is rotting. And he is worried that he has not written what he wanted to write, and he even thinks whether he can give dictation to Helen so that Helen can record all his thoughts. And as he thinks about it, flashback 3 comes, and in this flashback 3 he thinks about his grandfather's log house. Log house means a house built out of wood, and this log house was burnt up. And along with the house, his grandfather had a wonderful collection of guns, and all that also gets destroyed. And of course, later on the log house is rebuilt, but after rebuilding also, his grandfather never went for hunting, and his grandfather's was a very good hunter, and in spite of buying new guns also, his grandfather never had the passion of going back to hunting, because the guns which he used were all burnt. And not only that, the grandfather kept all the remnants of the destroyed guns together till he died. And so after, when the grandfather dies, they bury the destroyed guns along with the grandfather, and whenever he goes to pay tribute to his grandfather, he feels that he's paying tribute even to the guns which are buried along with his grandfather. And then he remembers the Germany's Black Forest, where he went after the war and he spent his time in fishing. And it was in this place where a hotel owner, the proprietor of the hotel, he lost all his money in inflation, and he had no money even to buy the supplies for the hotel, and so he hanged himself to death. And then he went and lived in the poor neighborhood in Paris, and he found that these people were happy in spite of their poverty, and he also had a very nice friendship circle there. And then afterwards, it was here he met the famous writer Paul Verlaine, and this Paul Verlaine, he lived in a very cheap hotel, and he died there in the neighborhood. Then we will go to part 4, where we find Helen making broth and asking him to drink so that he'll get some energy, but he asks for whiskey. And then he starts hallucinating because he feels that death is approaching him, and he is going to die. And it is at this time when he gets a flashback 4. And in this flashback 4, he remembers a ranch. Ranch is a place where you grow horses and all that, and of a half-wit chore boy. Half-wit means not very intelligent. Chore boy is a person who does small work as a servant boy. And here the owner of the ranch, he gives chore boy the task of taking care of the farm when he is not there. And when he goes out, another farmer comes into the ranch and tries to steal the feed from the barn. And the chore boy tries to stop him, but that farmer threatens him that he will beat him if he tries to stop him. And what the chore boy does is, he takes a rifle and he shoots this man, and after shooting, he leaves the dead body of that man to be eaten by the dogs. And Harry remembers taking the carcass of that man into the town along with the chore boy's help, and the chore boy was very happy, thinking that he is going to be rewarded for protecting his master's property, and so he goes along with Harry. But after he goes there, when it is revealed that he has murdered a person, and he had allowed that body to be eaten by the dogs, he is arrested and handcuffed, and the boy is shocked, and he turns back to Harry and begins to cry. And in this flashback, we actually come to know about misguided loyalty. And then we come to part 5, which tells about Harry talks about how the rich and the very rich are there, and how we already discussed about it with his friend Julian. And as he is talking, his mind goes back again to a person called Williamson. He is a soldier, and this Williamson was hit by a bomb. And while he was trying to move, he gets caught in the wire fence, and all his bowels get spilt out, and he suffers in pain, and he literally goes and cries to Harry and asks him to kill him, so because he is not able to bear the pain. And seeing him suffering, Harry had some morphine tablets. He gives all the morphine tablets to Williamson so that he can bear the pain, and this comes to his mind. And in part 6, Harry thinks that his death is better compared to Williamson, who suffered so much and died. And at that time, Harry can see the presence of a hyena running around the campsite, and Helen has his cot moved into the tent because night is approaching. And as she is moving, Harry feels that death is lying on his chest and he is unable to speak. And then he has a half dream where he sees a man called Compton coming with a plane to rescue him, and he feels that he is lifted into the plane, and he sees a snow covered top of Mount Kilimanjaro. And when he sees this snow covered top, he knows that this is the place where he has bound to come, and he has reached that place. And actually it is not a dream, it is real, but Harry thinks it's a dream because he has almost approached death. And Helen suddenly wakes up in the night because she hears a strange hyena cry, and it was like a human cry, and she finds Harry dead on his cot. And what helped Harry to reach the peak of Kilimanjaro is 3 things we can say. One is he gave Williamson all the morphine tablets which he had to make him to get relief from his pain, and then his intentions of writing even when he was suffering in pain. And third thing is, till the end he did not tell Helen that he married her only for the money, and he kept her happy. And all this has helped him to reach the place which he was bound to reach. And in the end of the story, we find that Helen is left alone and Harry is dead. This is the story of The Snows of Kilimanjaro by Ernest Hemingway. If you have anything more to add on to this, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.